You know, when we think about the future of cars, what's the most intense battle being fought right now? It's not for better batteries or sleeker designs. It's for the car's digital brain. And in China, the biggest car market on the planet, one company has quietly jumped in to a commanding lead. So let's dig in and figure out who they are and how they pulled it off.
So, who is the brain behind China's smart cars? It sounds like a simple question, right? But the answer? Well, it's a really fascinating story of smart strategy, amazing tech, and just a ton of ambition. We're going to go on a hunt for this digital brain that's already powering millions and millions of cars on the road today.
Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we'll get to know the market leader, a company called Horizon Robotics. Then, we'll unpack their twin-engine growth strategy. After that, we'll see how they're investing for the future, check out who they're up against in this fight, and finally, we'll crack the code on their winning formula.
All right, let's jump right in. First up, just how big of a deal is Horizon Robotics in China today? Are they really that dominant?
And the answer is, yeah, they kind of are. Horizon Robotics is the undisputed leader when it comes to intelligent driving solutions. I mean, that's a huge claim, but the numbers don't lie. They're number one for all those systems that power things you've probably used, like adaptive cruise control or lane keeping assist. And this creates a really powerful cycle, you know? The more cars that use their chips, the more data they get, which makes their software smarter, which then brings in even more car companies. It's a classic flywheel effect.
Just look at these numbers. In the first half of 2025, Horizon grabbed almost a third, 32.4% to be exact, of the market for what's called ADAS, or Advanced Driver Assistance Systems. And that's just among Chinese brands. That is a huge slice of a super competitive pie.
But here's the thing. It's not just about having a big piece of the pie. The pie itself is getting bigger, like way bigger, and fast. Horizon is leading a market that is just exploding. In only 6 months, the number of cars with any kind of ADAS jumped from 51% to 59%. But what's really wild is the high-end stuff, the more advanced systems. That shot up from 20% all the way to 32%. That is insane growth.
So, you might be wondering, why focus on the domestic brands? Well, here's why it's such a brilliant move. Those Chinese car companies now make up more than 63% of their own market. So by becoming their favorite partner, Horizon basically hitched its wagon to a rocket ship of local growth and innovation.
Okay, so they've got the market share locked down. That's great. But how are they actually making money and growing so fast? Well, it all comes down to this really clever two-part strategy they have.
They call it their twin-engine model, and you can see it right here. Engine number one is just pure volume. I mean, their chip shipments literally doubled year over year. But check out engine number two, value. Their revenue from the more advanced, complete solutions, that grew by a mind-blowing 250%. So yeah, they're not just selling more chips, they're selling better, more valuable systems.
And you can see that strategic shift right here. Just look at the difference a year makes. In the first half of 2024, those high-value product solutions were less than a quarter of their business. A year later, almost half. This is more than just numbers on a chart. It shows a complete transformation of their business.
And that right there is the whole point. They've gone from just selling a simple part, like a component, to providing the car's entire central nervous system. It makes them this deeply integrated partner that's way harder for a car company to replace. And of course, it means they make more money from every single car that rolls off the line.
Okay, so they've clearly got a handle on today's market. But what about tomorrow? What about the future of full self-driving cars? Let's take a look at where Horizon is putting its money to win that race.
Get this, 2.3 billion yuan. That's what they spent on R&D in just 6 months. That's a 62% jump from the year before. That's not just an expense on a balance sheet. That is a massive all-in bet on the future. So, what are they building with all that cash?
They're building something called Horizon SuperDrive. And this is the big one. It's their flagship, all-in-one solution that's designed to tackle the holy grail of self-driving: messy, unpredictable city streets. This is their ticket to powering the next generation of cars, the L3 and L4 vehicles, where the car is really truly doing the driving.
You know, all that R&D spending is really a two-for-one deal. On offense, it's building this deep technical moat around their business that makes it super hard for competitors to catch up. And on defense, it's creating this entire software ecosystem. You can almost think of it like an operating system for the car that's going to keep automakers hooked on their platform for years to come.
And that brings us to the big fight. Because, of course, Horizon isn't alone in this. There's a massive global battle going on for control of the car's brain. Let's size up the competition.
Okay, so in the ring, you've got four main contenders. In one corner, you've got Horizon, the local champ, with their open, flexible approach. Then you've got the global heavyweights. There's NVIDIA, the king of the super high-end market. There's Qualcomm, who's coming up fast. And then there's Mobileye, the old-school champ whose black box system is starting to look a little dated.
So, what's Horizon's edge? How do they compete with these giants? Well, against NVIDIA, they're way more affordable for the kind of mainstream cars that most of us drive. Against Qualcomm, they've got those super tight local relationships with the Chinese car companies. And against Mobileye, their system is open. That's a huge deal for car makers who want to customize their own software, not just buy a closed-off black box.
Okay, let's put it all together. What is Horizon's winning formula? What's the secret sauce that makes this all work?
This is a great way to think about it. It's like a pincer movement. See, they're not trying to go head-to-head with a beast like NVIDIA on pure raw power. That'd be a losing battle. Instead, they're being clever. They're surrounding the biggest part of the market, the mainstream, by offering something that's just right in terms of performance and cost.
It really breaks down into three key steps. 1. Target the sweet spot. They're going after the huge mainstream market, not the tiny, super expensive high-end. 2. Find the perfect balance. They win not by being the most powerful, but by having the best mix of performance, price, and power efficiency. And 3. Be a true partner. Their open system lets car companies build their own stuff, which makes them an ideal collaborator. And this wasn't an accident. It was a plan. You can see their evolution. They started out just licensing their tech to prove they had the goods. Then they fired up that twin-engine model to get big, fast. And now, they're becoming a true platform company, setting themselves up for the next whole chapter of self-driving tech.
So if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this. The race for the car's brain isn't just about who has the fastest chip. It's a much smarter game. It's about efficiency, it's about being an open partner, and it's about really nailing that sweet spot in the market.
And that leaves us with one big question for the future. Horizon's just right strategy has clearly worked wonders so far. But what happens when we get closer to full self-driving, and the giants like NVIDIA and Qualcomm turn their full attention to this mainstream market? Can the clever strategy keep winning against raw power and global scale? That's the billion-dollar question.